just watch it closely. If the U.S. really is crazy and really has a difficult years, don't make the life for the Hong Kong people difficult. So let's have Plan B, just in case. What Singapore did, what Lee Kuan Yew did when he was alive, the president, he broke with the US dollar. The good thing about being part of China, China will never let Hong Kong fail. Listen, you don't have to invest. They don't have a gun to your head. They're just suggesting that it will be. And it will be, I believe, very strongly the northern metropolis because Hong Kong has no land.
Maybe we consider some investment in the area.
In northern metropolis, I'd have to see because we're not big like some of the big developers, so I've got to be careful. But if there's a good site that is a reasonable price, why not?
睇片之前記得訂閱經一嘅 YouTube channel， 撳埋個鐘仔，下載我哋個 app。仲有，我哋經一共肥計劃已經上線啦，貼士密密送，有錢齊齊揾，快啲訂閱啦！
Well, I think that in the property market, for me, yes, mainland, I sit on many boards from big mainland company, or big local companies, and the developers, of course, before they can make a lot of money because the interest rate for 20 years was almost 0 or 1%, so people just bought property because it was more value for my money and price can appreciate rather than put money in the bank, but then things changed. You could see the whole year only one developer bid on land auction, and Shabalong had to come to Shenzhen to talk about, supporting the mainland, the developers need to support China and Hong Kong and the government, and because obviously no land sales, our reserves go down, which is very, very important. And so I think that going forward, of course, a lot of developers were called to Shenzhen to meet again with Shabalong, and so I think that to talk about maybe the Greater Bay Area, investing in the Greater Bay Area and investing in China, some of the mainlanders have problems, some of the developers, have problems because of the interest rate is high and they have a lot of stock on hand, so they have to pay high interest. So a lot are not in a position to buy like before, but a lot are. A lot have money from before, so they're able to really continue to do whatever they need to do to buy more property and continue going. So I think in the next auctions, government is aware, and I think they also will, because the problem is they can't lower the land price too much. If they lower the land price, it affects all the people that bought. It'll cause all the property to drop. So we just have to kind of ride this one up. It's like being in an airplane with turbulence. You have to sit there and hang on tight, but the plane eventually lands. So we'll get there. Some of the developers are very good, very profitable. Sino, for argument's sake, they're sitting with $40 billion in the bank. They're very profitable, and so they have strong reserves. And then others, not so strong. So it depends. But I think that we have a lot of big developers with a lot of money. So I think between Henderson, between Chung Kong, between Sino, there's a lot of very strong developers here, and so Hong Kong. They'll act according, it's public companies, so they also have to watch. They can't just buy like that because they represent investors, who invest in their company. So they have to make the right decision for the investor and also for the government. Well, put it this way, they didn't have to sign, but of course China is urging, Shabalong is urging, Hong Kong to also don't forget about China and also help China. They help us back, and so some of the big developers with money, will buy, because Greater Bay Area will be a very strong area. So a lot of them making investments instead of keeping money in the bank, buying some land in these, whether it's Foshan, whether it's Guangzhou, whether it's Shenzhen. So buying land and building. And most of them have projects already in China for many years. Everywhere they own shopping malls, they own a lot of residential that they sell. So I mean, it's nothing new for if you're in the property development business. China's a big market. When it's good, it's very good. You can make a lot of money. When it's bad, of course, nothing you can do. So, but the high interest rate actually affects all over the world, not just here. I mean, U.S., listen, the reason Biden lost the election is because the inflation in the U.S., because gas prices were high, groceries were high, mortgages were high. So the normal people also couldn't live. So they're looking for lower interest rates. I'm not sure they might get it with Trump, but whatever, they believe in him. So let's see, hopefully for the world, don't have a gun to your head, They're just suggesting that it will be. And it will be, I believe, very strongly the northern metropolis, because Hong Kong has no land. Northern metropolis is a new area close to Shenzhen. Shenzhen is a very, very industrial, one of the best in China. And so if we really kind of join up in technology and other places, making it a university city, and also you have land, you can do so much. You can bring so many people to live in nice, decent houses in their cheaper prices, and so I think that it's actually not a bad investment for some of the big developers. They can do it. They need a land bank anyhow, because they're in the property business, and without land, they can't do anything. So I think that once it gets started, it'll be a good. I know people always doubt, a new area. They always say, listen, when the new territories first started, it's the end of the world. We don't go there, And of course now the new territories is nothing. It's part of Hong Kong,
Maybe we consider some investment in the area.
In northern metropolis, I'd have to see, because we're not big like some of the big developers, so I've got to be careful. But if there's a good site that is a reasonable price, why not? Because I know our style, we build very nice things at a very reasonable price, and so I think that nicer than some of the other developers, I think, so that's one thing we know how to do is build nice things, and so I'm confident that all you need is land. Land, for me, land is land. Everywhere it's the same. What you put on the land creates something special, If you just build a building or a house or something like that, it's okay. There's always a market for that if the price is cheap enough. But if you build something very nice, people have good taste, and so that's an easy sell, because people walk in and they say, wow, look how beautiful, look at the nice kitchen, nice stove, nice surroundings, and so usually the wife is the one that makes the decision, not the husband, And so you always have to cater to what women like. The bathroom's very, very important. The kitchen's very important. These are things that are important. Not really different, I sit on many boards of property companies and many other kind of companies, and so I understand the local market very well, as good as some big developers, and some big developers, I understand they're public companies. They squeeze for the last dollar, because when the market's good, they want the best. Not my style. My style is really to live and let live. Let the people enjoy. I'm happy to build nice things at a reasonable price. If I make a profit, that's all I care about, Maybe it doesn't have to be the highest profit and not the lowest profit, but, something in the middle that everybody is fair. I don't like people to lose money. For us, we like people to make money, and that's the best thing. If you sell things like in Andara, I think we sold property originally. The first villa in Phuket was selling at about $1.5 million for the villa. Beautiful villa, and then there was, after 15 years, there was sales, in some of the villas. the last sale, I think, was about 14 million US dollars from 1,500,000. So the people that bought made a lot of money, more than the developer. But I'm happy because that just shows that, you know, what we do is we create value for people. The only one thing that worries me is that with the new president, with Donald Trump coming in January 20th, it's a worry for the fact that, and maybe many people don't think about that, but he's talking about lowering the tax for the U.S. and putting tariffs on China, and they already talked about 25% to Canada and Mexico yesterday, 10% to China. So that's inflationary, you know. So although the inflation is going down in the U.S., I worry that after he gets in, because I know him quite well, he's a bit, and so the problem is that if he does all that, might cause inflation again, might cause the interest rate to go up again. If that does, it'll hurt Hong Kong again, because if interest rates go up, it'll kill a lot of Hong Kong people. Because, you know, we can't afford the high interest rates. People are hoping the interest rate comes down so we can get back to our normal market. You know, at the moment, as you all know, 200,000 people leave Hong Kong and go to Shenzhen every weekend, you know, because it's 30-40% cheaper. Currency is different, you know. The restaurants are very good, the hotels are good, you know, everything they have. Now Shenzhen's a great city, and so and it's only 45 minutes away by car from Hong Kong, or, you know, and even if you're living in Yuen Long or in Sha Tin, it's closer to go to Shenzhen than to come to Central. Well, I tell you something, that's something else. Well, government has to constantly be looking at that. You know, the peg has been good for Hong Kong for 44 years now, you know, 43 years. That, you know, it really, because the U.S. dollar is recognized in the world as, you know, as the major currency, and so it's used a lot. Even though they have 36 trillion in you know, overprinting, you know, I mean, the money has no value to me. It's paper, basically. They'll never pay back the 36 trillion that they just keep printing money when they need it, only because they're the only currency. But if you look at currencies in the past, in history, before the pound used to be the number one currency, you know, in the world, everybody used the pound. And then after World War II, the Monroe Doctrine, U.S. became the U.S. dollar. And that's what they use now as a weapon as well in the U.S., you know, part of their politics. I think that going forward, Hong Kong, what Singapore did, what Lee Kuan Yew did when he was alive, the president, he broke with the U.S. dollar, and he put the Singapore dollar to a basket of 5 currencies. And 5 currencies, actually, which the government keeps, they don't say which 5, they keep changing, I'm sure, you know. So, but the Singapore dollar is still very strong, and, you know, financial services very, very strong in Singapore as well. So eventually, I know it's difficult for HKMA because it's served us well for now, you know. But if U.S. really gets crazy under Trump and there's no choice, if interest rates go up, it'll really kill Hong Kong, and then they'll have no choice. They'll have to do something. We have a geopolitical problem now where the U.S. against China, of course, and so they trying to show that Hong Kong, because of our national security law, that Hong Kong has been taken back by, you know, no freedom. And I get calls all the time from people, are you safe? Are you okay in Hong Kong? I say I'm safer than you are in the U.S., you know. And so it's crazy because of the geopolitical situation, Hong Kong really suffers. But when people come here, when the bankers come here and they see Hong Kong is so vibrant, I mean, they come to Lan Kwai Fong after the meetings at nighttime, many people, and, you know, see Hong Kong in general, and it's not what they think, you know, and so I think that, and also we now have tomorrow the 3rd runway will open at the airport. That's another very, very good thing for Hong Kong because, you know, we'll be able to have, you know, cater to 120 million people a year, passing through the airport, and I think that it'll really be a game changer for Hong Kong as well, with cargo, and it'll be, and also Hong Kong. We just bought 35% of the airport in Zhuhai, so it'd be a great transit point for people wanting to fly from overseas to Hong Kong and then transferring to Zhuhai to go to many places in China. So we're really positioning ourselves as a very, very important gateway to China, which is exactly what China wants. And we'll continue to do that under this government, and looking at new markets now. The Southeast Asia, the ASEAN market is becoming very important. The Middle East is another very, very important, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Dubai, so these are all different markets. If U.S. acts up and they don't want to do business here, we have other ways, and China's already built up a really strong relationship with the Belt and Road and BRICS. They shipped last year about 1.6 trillion US dollars worth of goods to BRICS countries and to Belt and Road countries. Their shipments to US, Europe, and Japan last year were 4 times less than to the other countries. It's 1.38 trillion dollars. So China is well protected, I believe. Xi Jinping was very smart. I think building up the Belt and Road, and with 150 countries, and also with the BRICS countries now, you see a division between the world, unfortunately. And if the U.S. really wants to go strong against China and Hong Kong, it'll be an insurance policy. So I'm just hoping that because with these senators, with the new U.S. government, many of them are all anti-China, from Marco Rubio to Guilford, to many of them just are against China. And of course, against China, Hong Kong as well. Some of them will take a bill to maybe cancel the peg, or other things, against Hong Kong. They'll do anything they can to hurt Hong Kong, and because they think that's hurting China. No privilege for Hong Kong, but at least we have an insurance policy, So that's what I'm saying. So we might have. We just have to be aware of everything going on in the future, and government people really need to be thinking ahead, thinking futuristically for Hong Kong. The good thing about being part of China will never let Hong Kong fail, and even now with the Greater Bay Area, we're talking about 86 million people, 11 cities, Hong Kong and Shenzhen and Guangzhou and Macau being the 4 key cities with 11 cities, all 1.5 hour radius, 86 million people. That was the 9th largest GDP in the world last year, with over $2 trillion of export. And so it's bigger than Italy, bigger than the GDP of South Korea, and many countries. That's part of Hong Kong, and hopefully by 2030, that'll be part of the whole puzzle, So there's a good, no matter what anybody does to Hong Kong, we have a strong future ahead because of, thank you to China. They've all thought ahead. And the northern metropolis also will be very, very good for Hong Kong, because we're talking about the collaboration between Shenzhen and Hong Kong in IT, AI. Even the Cyberport is building an AI center now, which will be one of the best in Asia, very powerful about AI. So there's a lot going on, and also the R&D with the universities, maybe University of Science and Technology will have another hospital, that our teaching hospital, that as well will be expanding the biomedical field. So there's a lot there is a lot going on in Hong Kong. I mean, people, the average person for the moment does not feel it because of the peg, because, financial services is very, very good. Banks are very, very strong. But the average person doesn't feel it because they're still stuck with the high interest rate, even though it's coming down, but still quite high. And that hurts a lot of people. But eventually, in the long run, if you can survive, it'll be very good for Hong Kong. Well, of course, I want to make sure, I do a lot of government work here in Hong Kong, Beijing, and so however I can help Hong Kong. I love Hong Kong as my home and my family's home, so I'll do everything possible to continue to come up with new ideas and wherever I can help to, because I have a vast knowledge of many things. I don't know why, but my brain is crazy. And so, anything I can do. As I say, the important thing is that we straighten out the financial situation, meaning the peg and I know it's difficult, but just watch it closely. If the U.S. really is crazy and really has a difficult years, don't make the life for the Hong Kong people difficult, so let's have Plan B just in case, and so I know government doesn't like me to talk about the peg because it's kind of sacred cow, but still, I mean, as we said, the SMEs are really suffering, and many businesses are really suffering. So really have to find a way to help them and make Hong Kong, just a great place that it is, and not just for financial services, but also but as I say, the confidence that I have is so many things going on between IT, Northern Metropolis, Greater Bay Area. So there's a great future for Hong Kong. We just have to get through this turbulence on the airplane, and then the plane will land safely.
What's the Plan B for Hong Kong?
Well, Plan B should be that in case we really do have to, in case interest rates really do go up and go up high because of Trump's out of control, we have to have another plan. We can't become very, very expensive, so we have to go back to finding maybe copying Singapore as far as a basket of currencies, setting the rate and maybe being closer to the renminbi. There's just so many different options. I mean, that of course the experts have to study, because that's the most important thing. It's the currency that affects an economy, and so as long as the currency works for everyone, it should be a currency for everyone, not just for some industries, but for the time being, of course, it's still very important because it's the trust of the world. But you don't now have with Trump there, cryptocurrency is going to go to 100. I mean, it's got up 40%. It was kind of not a currency before. So who knows? We just have to watch the world very carefully to see so many new things going on. We have to be aware. And AI will also change the world in every industry, in your industry, in every industry. It's just so important that AI continues to, that Hong Kong continues to kind of catch up to the world with AI. ChatGPT in the U.S. is so strong, and they're the ones that really invented AI, but now China's catching on very, very strong. And but as we can see, AI really changes everything. Even going to university, going to school, all your exams can be written by or answered. The questions can be answered by by AI. So in all businesses, knowing your customer more, so many different things. Media business as well will change. The kind of media business will change. So, but it'll be step by step. Even medical already, AI has helped a lot of cases. I sit on the board of Sanatorium Hospital for 16 years, so I'm quite familiar with medical as well. And even for cancer or other diseases, it's really helped some of the cancers help people survive, whereas before, you're finished. So, Hong Kong needs to be, and we are at least, studying all that. And because we have 5 of the best universities in the top universities, of the top 100 in the world, why not?
想緊貼更多理財投資同生活嘅資訊，就繼續留意我哋唔同嘅平台，記得訂閱我哋嘅經一共肥計劃同埋 YouTube Channel，再撳埋個鐘仔啦！